Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of HeadCanon. Today we're going to be talking about something we talked about in the second episode of Lessons Learned About Gaming, and that is Fable 3. If you saw that video, you'll realize that I was really disappointed in Fable 3 because of a lot of reasons that I'm going to actually break down in this video and try and figure out a way to have made them better, to make the story more cohesive and make a lot more sense than it does in Fable 3. And so come join me. And I know this is going to take a while, and I'm going to end up spoiling Fable 3. So if you haven't played the game, you might not want to you might want to do that before you watch this video, because this is going to spoil the crap out of it, and I don't want to ruin the experience for you, even though it's not the world's greatest game. So I'm going to assume that if you're still watching this, that you already played the game and that you would like to hear what I have to say. Basically, I'm going to start out with my largest gripe of the game, which is the story. And I'm going to start at the beginning, go all the way to the end of the story into what I think would have been the best way to handle it. Basically, when the game was coming out, they talked about how in Fable 3, the character you're playing is the son or daughter of your character in Fable 2. And they really did nothing with that. Like, there are a lot of other games that have allowed you to import your save, and then that would carry over into the new game. Witcher 3 did it, like the Mass Effects have done it. Even as far back as the Quest for Glory games back in, like, the 80s did that. And, so I don't understand why they didn't do it here. It would have made sense. So basically, if they did it the way I would have, it would have started out in one of two ways. Either you pick your save and it takes all of your stuff from Fable 2 and brings it seamlessly into the story, or you don't pick a save and you basically tell the game the basically the stuff that you would have done if you had played Fable 2. Wow, that took a minute to get out. But yeah, so Fable 3 takes place 50 years after Fable 2. But if I did it the way I would have started when you were a kid, just like Fable 1 and Fable 2. So it would have started 40 years after Fable 2. And basically, the way I see it, Logan in Fable 3 at the start of the game is 20, and your character is 18. Because they say that Logan has been the king for 4 years, and I figure that would probably put his coronation around the age of 16, so he would be 20. I don't remember if it actually specifically says so in the game, but that's what I would do. And basically that would put the game starting at 40 years after Fable 2, where Logan is 10 years old and you are 8. And basically I would start the game at your birthday party at the castle. You're 8 years old, your parents are there, Logan is there, and your friend from the beginning of Fable 3 is there as well. And this would set up things later, because basically your parents, as a birthday gift, would give you a puppy, and that would be the dog that you have for the rest of the game. And also at this point, Logan seems to be an alright guy. Like the puppy plays with him, and dogs are a good sense of character. So basically, if the dogs like Logan, if your puppy likes Logan, obviously he's not that bad a guy, and your friend is there, and Logan and her get along splendidly. So when things go off the rails later, you're kind of going, "Hey, wait a minute, they were cool. What happened?" Uh, and then after you get the puppy, and there's a little bit of stuff there just showing the interaction between the people, your parent, whether male or female, takes you on like a little walk through the castle and basically explains the entire plot of Fable 2 to you. I know you're 8 years old, but back then, like, kids didn't have the adolescence they have now, so they had to learn lessons early on. And basically, he he or she goes through the entire thing, Fable 2, and like if you didn't have a save, of course, you're answering questions to steer the story toward what you would have had it be. And basically, uh, by the end of it, you are in front of a fireplace in the castle, and your dad is talking to you about all of the stuff that happened, and that, uh, and how they became king. And basically, in order to make Albion a level playing field at the beginning of Fable 3 and have it be the same, whether or not you were a good guy or a bad guy, it would be uh, that your original character, who are the king or queen, whatever, basically says, "Hey, this is how I became king," and there shows above the fireplace a shiny sword. And basically, if your character was a bad guy, there's like a black, crazy looking sword, and your original character talks about how they were a villain and something happened in their life later on that made them change their ways, and they keep that sword above the fireplace as like something to look at and remember the times that they had in their life that were bad and how they were able to turn their life around. And then of course, because the king or queen are coming to the end of their life, essentially, it's the last time you'll see them in the game. They talk about the regrets that they've had and the fact that uh, they lost their sister at a young age, and basically hope that you don't lose your relationship with your brother, and God forbid actually lose your brother. And like that sets an emotional tie which leads into what happens later on. And basically that would be the end of the prologue, and it would start basically after that where it does in the main game of Fable 3, with Logan being a total douche. All of the major like morality decisions would be the same throughout the entire game, and basically all the promises that you made would be the same, and then all the side quests would be the same because they're great. And then at a point, you're about to depose King Logan, and that's where I would add a quest where you have to help a hooded figure in a shady quest. Teresa asks you to help him. You don't know who it is, and it'll play into something later. And basically, that would happen, and then, okay, you go and you depose Logan. And then Logan goes, haha, I'm washing my hands of this. It's all on you now. There's this thing coming. It's going to be here in a year. I tried to do the best I could to gather enough money to make an army to be able to stop it. And sometimes I had to be a real jerk about it. But I'd rather be a jerk and have everybody live than be a super good guy and have most of Albion die. Which you can kind of see that would be a thing, but I would see it as, since you're the hero and Logan isn't, that there has to be a better way and that you could do it. So, moving forward from this point, I don't see it, when you're the king, being as stilted as it was in Fable 3. Because basically, I think there's like a total of 7 decisions that you can make, and they all are just, do you keep a promise or break a promise? And it's not fun. Like, there's nothing you can do that really impacts anything, because it's just get enough money to save all the people. And if you're being the good guy, it's going to take a really long time. And the first time you play it, you're probably not going to do so great, and you're going to have to play through it all again in order to make the decisions that you need to make, in order to make the metric butt ton of money that you need in order to save everybody. So what I would do, instead of making it to where, oh, I need an arbitrary amount of money in order to stop the crawler, I think it was its name, from getting to Albion and destroying it, I would have it to where basically you have to make strategic decisions about where to send troops, where to fortify defenses and stuff like that, in order to slow the crawler's advance, so that by the time it gets to Albion, you can defeat it. And it would be like things like, oh, we're going to go to Aurora and build walls and send some troops down there to slow his advance. Oh, we're going to put walls around Albion. We're going to bolster our defenses so that by the time the crawler gets here, its armies are stretched so thin that it's not hard to defeat. And also, like, I would do things where it's like, oh, hey, you know what we should do? We should go back to Wraithmarsh and use some of the industrial technology, make some pumps out there, and restore Oakvale, maybe? I don't know. Like, it seems like there's a whole lot that wasn't thought through as to what the king would actually need to do in order to do the things to save everybody. And here's the thing. Once that is done, once the crawler comes, it would kind of be the same area as it was in Fable 3, slightly modified. Because if your family is in Bowerstone Old Quarter and everything goes down in the Old Quarter and things are just destroyed, well, guess your family's dead. There's no like extra quest that goes, hey, we got to get them out of here. And then you just slowly like change your path, get them out, and then can roll forward. It's just, we're good. So it makes no sense at all. So I would have that happen, and then eventually you get to the crawler who has taken over Walter, just like in Fable 3. But here's the thing. It turns out that the crawler can take over anybody, but the only people with the fortitude and the vitality to be able to keep the crawler at bay are heroes. The only, like, the crawler will destroy a normal human body and just, like, eat right through it. So basically, you do the final fight with Walter, and you take him out, and it's crushing, just like in Fable 3. But here's the thing. Unlike in the original Fable 3, my ending would be completely different. Because it's not, hey, did you have enough money to save everybody, or did you not? And it's totally flipped the morality on the other side of the coin, where it's like, you have to be a jerk in order to save everybody. And if you're a good guy, you have to, like, you're not going to save everybody, but at least they think you're nice. Or you have to get enough money in your personal stuff to be able to just donate it to the treasury and save everybody, which sucks. This time, Walter dies. The crawler needs a place to go. The crawler jumps in you. And there's a cutscene, and basically Teresa talks about how there was only one decision that could have been made, and that in order to save Albion, you had to put the crawler inside yourself. And then there's two ways that it can go. The first is the dark ending. The dark ending, it shows your character up close. It shows their face like right in front of their eyes, and your eyes are closed, and they open up, and they're blood red. And it pans back, and your skin turns black, and it keeps going back, and there are smoky tendrils rising off of your body, and flickers with the face of the crawler, and it goes further and further back, and you're standing there, and Teresa is audibly upset by the fact that you could have saved Albion and you chose not to. And here's where the end game goes, to a point where you can use the crawler's powers to destroy everything in Albion, everything that you've built, everything that was already there. You can use the crawler's power to bring Albion and the surrounding world to its knees. And that's the entire end game for the evil ending, is all of that. But if you're the good ending, it pans back. Like, it starts at your face again, your eyes open up, they're blood red, your body's all black, smoky tendrils are coming up, and it pans back, and it shows you there, and it pans back some more, and your arms are in chains, and it pans back more, and it's inside the tattered spire from Fable 2. And on the three little areas where it used to be Hammer, Garth, and Reaver, Reaver is on one, Teresa is on another, and on the third is a man in a tattered cloak and a hood holding a staff. And he pulls his hood back, and it's Garth from Fable 2. And Teresa says that she knew that you did the one decision that could have been made, and that she knew there was a reason that the tattered spire needed to be held on to, and that she has to do what needs to be done in order to save Albion. And she does a ritual that binds you into the tattered spire, and the entire end game is cut off. You're stuck in the spire for the rest of your life. And then it pans out, and it shows Albion, and it shows that everybody is safe, and it shows a statue of you in the courtyard of the castle, and it shows everybody's happy. And yeah, the end game is cut off. You don't get to play after you're in the tattered spire, but sometimes the happy endings are the ones that really hurt. And that's how I would end it. And so that's the end of the story. But here's the thing. That's not the only thing I would have changed about it. The living weapons, I think they're called in Fable 3, I would have made it to where, just like your character, the living weapons could also go good or evil. There's a lot of replay value in that. I think that would make a lot of sense, because then when you're playing co-op, somebody could see your fancy weapon and be like, ooh, how did you get that? Oh, you gotta be super evil and be really, really mean? oh, well, that's really cool. I think I'm going to start an evil set so that I can do that because that's really cool. And you can trade weapons back and forth between people in co-op. You can have it to where, oh, instead of the DLC, like in Fable 3 where it's cut off completely unless your co-op partner also has that DLC, have compatibility packs. A bunch of other games did that. Like have it to where you can play co-op with a friend that doesn't have the DLC, or that you don't have the DLC and they do. Like have all of that. Have the interactions between people not just stilted, good, bad, and different. Like have you, the ability to pick them. Have outfits that make a lot of sense. That like yeah, you can dye them certain ways and whatnot, but have it to where they're more substantial. Like have them a lot of them tied to quests that do cool stuff, and like that you can get a lot just from the interactions that you have with a bunch of people. Because the NPC interactions on this game are a lot more stilted than they were in Fable 2. They're not as fun, so they're kind of pointless. And like I know I'm getting into the nitpicky stuff now, but that's what it is. Like those little nitpicks. And shoot, man, even I would update the magic to where you could have good or evil magic. And like say the blade spell when you're using it, if you're evil, it's going to be crazy big like blades that just wreck people. But if you're a super good guy, instead of blades, it can turn into shields that just defend you and stop people from being able to get in there. That's just tiny little stuff. But I mean, that's tiny little stuff is where Fable 3 failed massively. But like I really just wanted to like put in my own 2 cents as to what could make Fable 3 great. And I may be wrong. You can tell me in the comments below if you want to see more videos about me trying to figure out what would have made games great, or a new sequel for a game that we sorely need, or anything like that. Throw that in the comments down below. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. If you want to see more, subscribe. You don't have to, though. That's fine. But hey, yeah. I'll see you next time on a new episode of HeadCanon. Bye.